I was at my brother's house. We were having a family party. It was like someone's birthday or something, and they ordered pizza. They had beer, cake, and I've got 8 brothers and sisters. We have family birthday parties all the time. We used to have a family birthday party for every single sibling that was still an adult, plus every one of their kids. So we would have 30, 40 family birthday parties a year. It was awesome, but then we stopped doing it. We started just doing birthday parties for the children. So at this particular one, I was there at the birthday party and an alarm went off on my phone. My brothers were standing right next to me. My alarm went off and it said, "Don't do it." And I knew what it went. I knew what it meant. My older brother looked at me and he's like, "Oh, is that so you can stay disciplined today?" And I was embarrassed, but I was like, "Yeah, it is. I don't want to eat any cake today." And guess what I did? I still ate cake. This was in the middle of me trying to get my discipline and health back. I knew I used to be ripped. I knew I used to be disciplined. This was 5, 6 years after that fact, and I was struggling every single year trying to get back to that guy, and I couldn't. I tried everything. I posted pictures of myself on the wall of me when I was ripped. I had my old gym logs of how I used to work out every day, looked at my old journal entries, and nothing worked. I looked at my watch or my phone went off and it was like, "You have to do it today. You have to stick with it today." But with the slightest pressure, I just gave in. And on that night, I made an alarm for myself that would go off in the middle of this party that said, "Don't do it. Don't eat the cake. Don't drink the beer. Don't eat the pizza. This is what's screwing you over." And my brothers caught me. I saw it and I still did it anyway. This podcast is going to talk about destroying the dad bod. I had a dad bod and it was destroying me. And it destroys men's confidence. It destroys their sex life. It destroys their leadership and it destroys their identity. And that's what was happening to me. This episode, I'm going to tell you my story, the story of other men. I'm going to talk to you exactly how to get out of this, a blueprint of how to destroy your dad bod. We are not encouraging your dad bod here in the Rising Father podcast. I don't want you to accept yourself as you are. I want you to challenge yourself to become the best man that you can be. This is not about self-acceptance. This episode is about self-transformation. I'm Chris Rodak. I'm the founder of Rising Father and the Father Transformation Program, Men of Fire. This is where we take undisciplined fathers and make them unbreakable, inspiring, selfless leaders of their family. This episode isn't a fitness episode. It's called Destroying Your Dad Bod, yes, but this is a leadership and integrity episode. Your body is not a billboard for vanity. It's not about the 6-pack. It's not about the 8-pack. It's not about the pictures that you post. It is the armor that you wear to serve your family. When I was my most out of shape, I could not serve my family as I can now when I'm disciplined and in shape and in the best shape of my life. I have more energy, more presence. I don't snap as much. I love the man I see in the mirror. And we're going to teach you how to do that today. I'm going to give you step-by-step strategies. I'm going to tell you what I had to do to finally break out of this funk. I was so desperate to overcome myself. It's not that I didn't know what to do. Of course I knew what to do. I was ripped before. I was sub 10% body fat. I had an 8-pack. And this was back in my early 20s. I did it all on my own in my garage basement. Not a commercial gym. It was me and some dumbbells, push-ups and pull-ups, and the food that I could afford on a $27,000 a year salary. That's how I did it. Now I had much more money. I had much more resources, more access to gyms, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't get myself to do it. It's because I changed. I had all the same information, but I changed. And I was so desperate to get out of there. I was trying everything, giving myself alarms. I was trying to motivate myself. I was like, can I get this fat, lazy slob motivated so he can finally get his butt out of bed and go to the gym? Setting my alarm in the evening, listening to David Goggins and Jocko Willink and being like, this is the day, man. This is the day. You're going to change your life. Reading everything I could to inspire myself. And then the alarm went off in the morning and it's been like, I don't care that much. Not caring in the morning, really caring in the evening. Finally getting myself to work up the guts to stand on the scale and look at myself and just being like, oh my God, you did it. Why? Why did you let yourself get this fat? Hated it. And then you just don't even look at yourself. You hate when your wife is taking pictures of you. You avoid the camera. You avoid the scale. You avoid everything. And then because you feel bad about yourself, you start eating and drinking, which compounds in negative behavior. I'm sure some of you have been there. If you're listening to this in your car, you're running, or just nod to yourself. Yes, you've been there. I feel you. You feel like you're stuck in an inescapable prison cell. But here's the sad news about that and the great news about that. The sad news is that you're keeping yourself stuck. The great news is that you're keeping yourself stuck. The great news is that you are 100% responsible for putting yourself there, which means you're 100% responsible for freeing you. It means that you have the key to unlocking yourself from this prison cell of complacency and comfort. But I've been there. So trust me, I know you can feel like it's helpless and hopeless because you're like, I've tried this 1,000 times. Why can't I do it? Why can't I stop myself? It's not, why can't I find the right information? It's, why can't I stop myself? Why can't I stop sabotaging myself? So today we're going to forge that armor. And for me, the battle, it wasn't like I couldn't find out what to eat or what exercises to do. It was this complete internal battle. I've talked about this on many a podcast. There's the guy that I had the memory of. It's the man that I wanted to be. I'm in my 30s now. It's like I want to be, should be the prime of my life. This is when I can become my strongest. If I don't do it now, I don't get to rewind the clock and be a strong, ripped, athletic, disciplined 30-something-year-old again. It just happens. And then I'm in my 40s. Okay, well, then am I going to make it happen in my 40s? If I can't make it happen in my 30s, what excuses am I going to give myself in my 40s? These are things going through my head. It's terrifying. So I had this vision of the guy I wanted to be, but then I went to sleep at night thinking, who is this guy? I looked at myself in the mirror saying, no, you are not that guy. Two enemies within each other. It's like the devil on one side and the angel on the other side. It was the lazy me and the disciplined me, constantly battling. And what happens when you have these two versions of people inside of you constantly battling? You're not present. You're more impatient, you're more frustrated, you're more likely to snap. You have no bandwidth or room inside of you to be present for the people around you, like your children who want you. That's why one of my turning points was looking at a picture of myself at an amusement park with my baby son in my lap, and I look miserable and unpresent. Beautiful fall day, wife was there, son was there at an amusement park. Should have been a pivotal, amazing day in my life. It was pivotal, but not because it was amazing. Pivotal because of how bad it was, because of how disgusted I was with myself. So what did you allow yourself to crumble to? There's nothing honorable about having a dad bod. There's nothing honorable about letting yourself get fat when there's people in the world starving to have one meal today and you just can't even control yourself. There's nothing noble about that. And on top of that, why aren't you happy? Why are you so frustrated? How come you've allowed yourself to turn into somebody who hates what he sees in the mirror? Yes, I was still showing up for my family. I was still giving them time. I was there at the amusement park. I invested money in them. I invested time in them, but I wasn't happy for them. I wasn't energetic for them. I was sad. So that's a difference. It would have been better if I wasn't even on that ride with them, if it was just my wife and she was happy with the kids. It's better to have nobody than somebody who's sucking the energy out of the room. So why did I allow myself to do that? In my early 20s, I was ripped. I did P90X 3 times in a row. It took me about 10 months to do it. I had some flubs in there. This was a 3-month-long program, and I remember I killed myself. I crushed myself whenever I messed up a week. I would do the meal plan exactly as they had. And if I missed one meal out of the week, I would repeat the week. And I would crush myself. I had this deep Catholic guilt about Chris. You sinned today. That was my thinking back then. It was, you messed up this. You broke a promise to yourself. You lost trust within yourself. That's how I felt it on a soul level, on a visceral level. Whenever I messed up my meal plan or my macros, I was like, you are lying to yourself. That's how I felt it. So then I would just repeat the week. So it took me about 10 months to do this thing 3 times. And I timed it out so right before my wedding, I'd be my most shredded. And I did it. And I got super shredded. I got down to like 167. I went from like 230 or 240 to 167. I'm 6 foot even. So, I was skinny, but I had tons of muscle and I was athletic and energetic and I felt amazing. Went on my wedding, went to the honeymoon, and I think I gained 10, 15 pounds in 1 week. Drank every single day. There's a picture of me floating around in one of the Sandals, Jamaica pools, drinking a margarita, buzzed already at like 10 a.m. Came home from the honeymoon. We had tons of alcohol left over from our wedding, so we had parties multiple nights a week for 3 straight months. I was like, what the hell? I got married. I've got the job I wanted. At that time, I had my dream job. I was married to my dream girl. I was like, why am I going to wake up at 5 a.m. and work out anymore? I did it. And then 3 months passed. I'm at this job. I'm probably 20, 30 pounds heavier than I was just 4 months earlier. And I don't feel very good. And then years passed, maybe 1, 2 years passed, and I'm like 50, 60 pounds heavier. And then Sarah gets pregnant. We have our first kid. We have Nathan. And I'm a different man. 3, 4 years after I was on top of the world, thinking anything was possible, I'm a different man. I look different, but most importantly, I felt different. My confidence was gone. I had such an unbreakable identity. Like, if you've ever been in good enough shape where you love walking around with your shirt off, it's an amazing feeling. And if you're listening to this and you've ever been at that point in your life, or maybe you're there right now, it feels really good. In a kind of a vain way, yeah, but it's deeper than that. People that are really out of shape, that want to be in shape, some of them might say, well, that's because you're vain, that's because of blank. No, it's because you love yourself. And that's a noble goal. It is a noble enough goal to want to love what you see in the mirror, the body that God gave you, that you are not letting it waste away into this fat slop. He gave you a gift. You are saying, I'm going to take this thing and turn it into something the most I could possibly give it. I'm not going to let my tool become rusty. It feels amazing. I remember being at the pool whenever I was living in this 2-bedroom shack, making $27,000 a year, working out in a dirty garage. But I had like no fat on my body, and I could almost do a split, and I was running 7, 8 miles a day and working. I was doing 15, 20 pull-ups, completely changed myself. I remember being at the pool with my shirt off and just being like, dude, I feel so good. You feel free, like you smile bigger. You don't care about things as much because you're like, dude, I did it, man. I mastered myself. That's the feeling. The feeling of looking good isn't just what you look like. It's not just a vain thing. Get that out of your head. That's like a Catholic guilt type of thing. Like, if I look good, then it's vain in some way. It's also, if I make a lot of money, it's bad in some way. I also grew up with that. And a lot of it is the mindset of people who don't have that thing attach negative attributes and negative morals to the thing that they could have because they can't get it. So that way it makes them feel better and justifies their state in life. And I've realized that. It's like there's a type of person who doesn't have money who looks at anyone who does have money and says, if you have money, you've stolen it, you've lucked your way there, and you're evil because you have money. And that way they can look at themselves in the mirror and say, well, look, I'm a good guy because I have the opposite of what's evil. It's the same thing as somebody who is super overweight and tried to get in shape but can't, and looks at somebody who's, posted a picture of them with their shirt off and is like, well, you're just so vain. You only care what you look about. I'm not like that. They have to attach a negative moral to the thing that they can't get to justify why they can't get it. It's either that they got it unjustly and it's evil, or it's they are incapable of doing it. And I was guilty of both of those mindsets. I had to overcome them myself. It's a lacking versus an abundance mindset, both in wealth and also myself. Like, no, I am okay taking pictures of myself. I am okay putting myself out there. I love myself. I'm okay getting more money. I'm okay accepting wealth from the universe into my life and resources. If I hate the thing that I say I want, why would anyone give it to me? Think about that. You want to be more wealthy. You want to have a great body. If you're constantly bashing people who have those things, why would the universe, God, why would anyone give you those things? So rip those thoughts out of your brain. Don't look at anyone who's doing better than you in any of these areas and hate on them. Say, man, that's amazing for them. I'm going to be that someday. Use it as inspiration. So mindset is a huge way to get out of this. But I would look at, to take you back to the story, I loved what I looked like. I loved feeling this way. And then after time passed, 3-4 years, I was like, okay, I'm not this guy anymore. So I had this rock solid vision of the guy that I was, the guy I could be, then I had the reality of the man that I was. And I said, no, I'm a completely different guy now. So every single week I'd be doing some other trick to try to motivate myself to get back to that guy. I was like, what can I do to motivate me to get myself back into the mindset I had? I was like, how did I do it? How was I making no money, eating nothing, and eating, like I would take little meal prep containers of food, of broccoli and chicken breast with no seasoning on it, and I would just eat that all day and be smiling and happy about it. I remember teachers making fun of me, being like, that's all you're eating for lunch? I was like, yeah, I don't care, but look at my six-pack and look at your gut. And I'd laugh about it. And then they'd stop saying things. But I didn't care. I was like, wow, how did I not care so much? How was I so disciplined? How did I get myself to wake up and work out in a cold, dirty garage at 5 a.m.? And I did that all winter. I did it for 5 months of hellish cold up there in Ohio. It was just a cheap, crappy garage door. It was snowing and freezing outside. And I was there doing body weight P90X workouts right in the garage with like no light at 5 a.m., knowing I had to go teach elementary music for 8 hours after that for no money. I just did not understand how I got myself to do that. And as you can see, it's not that I was struggling with, Chris, what workouts did you used to do? What diet plan what was the magic diet plan you were on that made you able to get in shape? It has nothing to do with that. Get that out of your head. If you're going down that wormhole, it's hopeless. You're just distracting yourself. It's nothing to do with that. The thing I had to find out was, how in the hell did I get myself to wake up at 5 a.m. and do bodyweight workouts in a cold, dark basement? How did I get myself to do it? That's the question. And we're going to go through that. I'm going to teach you that. So what happened to me, really, it wasn't a lack of knowledge. It wasn't that the strategies changed. It was my identity, right? My identity completely changed. There's a guy who just joined Men of Fire a couple of days ago, and we identified that within him. It's what happens to guy after guy, father after father. It's not an information problem. It's an identity problem. You used to be a savage. Now you're not. How do we get you to believe in yourself again? How do we get you to believe that you're a savage once again? Keeping promises. So the change that happened to me was an identity level change. I went from ripped and confident to complacent and sloppy. I became the guy who quits. I had 10, let's fast forward. I was in my low 30s. Now I had a decade of me trying to get my shit together and quitting. So I had 10 straight years of proof of me quitting when it got hard. I was the guy who breaks promises. That's what I became. I became from the ripped, confident savage who could do anything and thought anything was possible for him. Like, I was like, I don't care. I'll go into any situation and I'll be fine. To the guy who quits. That's how I saw myself. And because I saw myself that way, what do you think I did a lot more? I kept on quitting. I kept on breaking promises. My actions just kept on proving that my new weak identity was true. And then what's the impact? Like this, I wasn't alone for my 20s to 30s. How did this impact my family? It wasn't just about me. My family got the version of me that I wasn't proud of. I'm still a really great father. Rising Father started when I was still this guy. I was in the midst of a renaissance, but I wasn't the man I am now. Rising Father is now 5 years old. I can't believe it. But I can look back at my very first posts, if they're still there, And, I don't look like I do now. So I always was obsessed with being a family man. Always. No matter what I looked like, how much I weighed. So I always gave them my time. I always provided and spent money and invested in my family and had fun. I was still joyful and happy. But I look back and there's still times when I'm like, why didn't you just get your shit together? Why are you unhappy here when you could have been happy? Like I talk a lot about picture of me at the beach, beautiful beach summer day, and I'm playing with my son out there in the sand. We're skipping rocks and just Sarah's taking video. It's a beautiful day. And my eyes are looking at the ground and why? I should be smiling, giant smile on my face. I should be so happy, throw my son in the air, but I'm not. And I remember that day. It's because I looked at the video and I was like, oh my God, that's what I look like. It hits deep when you're a man. When you're a man and you look at yourself and like, oh, that's what I look like. And you can fake it, right? If you're in a really good mood or you're buzzed or you're with your buddies, you can all laugh about how fat and sloppy you are and you're all drunk together. And it feels good in the moment. I've been there. Some guys talking about waking up early in the gym, like, huh, I'll still be buzzed then. And you laugh it off and then you cry later. You laugh it off in the moment and then you look at yourself in the mirror like, I hate this. So I was a great father, but I could have been a better father. I only get to be a father once. I don't want to just give them great. I want to give them everything I could possibly become. And to do that, I had to burn the old me. Like we said on the old podcast, I had to rip that old identity out. So, yeah, at times I was lacking energy. I lacked presence, and I definitely lacked joy at times. I was more moody, for sure. I was more stressed out, for sure. I snapped more, for sure, because I let myself go. So I have a journal entry from December 2020, and I said, so I'm 33, got a family, got a wife. I want more. It was me awakening. It was like this little ember. You go to like a campfire, you can see a little ember in there. Someone sprays some lighter fluid on it. It just goes. That was what that was. It was that, and it was me looking at a picture of me with my son at the amusement park and be like, why are you not in the best mood ever? What's happening? And because of that little ember grew a little bit brighter. I realized my kids would go to college and I'd have regret, all because I couldn't handle life whenever it got too hard. Because my job was hard. There was rough times at school. There was rough times financially for us. I wanted to go to college to be a psychologist all the way up until like a month before I left high school forever, which means I left every single scholarship opportunity possible. I was accepted to schools for psychology. I had scholarships and was accepted into schools for psychology. And then I went to an honors band with this unbelievably inspirational band director called Dr. Stephen Gage. He's now passed away. The best teachers I've ever had. And I said, I want to do that. He was the most on fire with life guy I think I've ever met. And I said, I want to do that. So I changed everything. I told schools, nope. And then I reapplied. I applied and auditioned for music schools, got accepted, but I missed every single audition for scholarships. So I got accepted, but I said, you can come here, but we've got no money for you. So I went to school for music and practiced 6 to 8 hours every single day, became the best saxophone player in my school, and then I graduated with a ton of debt. Because I was practicing so much, I worked at McDonald's for like a couple hours a week. I worked at the Youngstown McDonald's for a couple hours a week, and then I would practice all day. And I was just grinding. But I left with a ton of debt. And so did my wife. And then, we were there after college, getting newlyweds with just a ton of debt. And that means that financial life was hard. Life was hard at school. Life was hard financially. We had, I think at our worst, we had $1,800 a month in student loan monthly payments on top of a mortgage for people that were making $30,000 a year. So life was hard. That's whenever I first invested in myself to start my ad agency and hired a business coach. And at that point, when finances were the worst, I invested in myself to say, nope, this isn't going to be our life. Your only chance out of this life, Chris, is by throwing everything at a new life. And that's what I did. I just went all in. So time passed and my fire was lighting, and I had to completely change the guy that I was. I had to burn that old identity, build the new identity. So what did I do? I set my alarm for 3:45 a.m. I used to wake up at 6:30, get to school by 7:30, set my alarm for 3:45 a.m. And I remember standing in the gym for the first time, 4:15 a.m., just feeling like such an unbelievable badass. Like I felt powerful. I finally had proof of the guy that I wanted to be. I promised myself to be this guy for a decade, but I proved that he was an imposter, a fantasy for 10 straight years. Now I finally had proof that this is the guy that I was, because I was there standing there. I can look back at my Instagram stories from years ago. I remember I'm there looking swollen and tired and baggy eyes, but I'm there. I don't care how I showed up. I showed up. I did something that I failed at for an entire decade. And that one action, that was the first nail in the coffin of my old self. I proved my new identity through actions, not just words, not just sharing memes and content and listening and planning and getting inspired. No more getting inspired motivation hacks for myself, tricks to get myself to finally be inspired. I was not inspired to get up. I hated getting up. I remember my first 2 weeks of getting up that early. I had a breakdown with Sarah. I was like, I don't feel good. It's because I was getting so little sleep, but it was I had to do it. I was getting 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night, but that was the process that I had to go through to kill that old version of myself. I had to make myself suffer to get out of that. And I woke up early. I went to the gym, started whole new routines. And was working on my business, was just completely building myself. It was through this pain that I was able to rip that old whiny, complacent, fat, sloppy Chris out of me. So the problem wasn't the weight, right? I just took you through my entire story. The problem isn't the weight. The problem is what the weight represents. It's a personal loss of integrity, because every time you look in the mirror, you see a guy who breaks his word. It's like the Groundhog Day of shame. You keep on promising yourself tomorrow, then failing over and over and over again. So the weight, yeah, it stinks. I hate the way pants feel when they're too tight. I hate the way I look. I hate the way that I feel whenever I am overweight. Completely honest with you. Okay, it sucks. It's not good. So yeah, it's a problem, but the bigger problem is what that represents. That is the external symbol of what my discipline was on the inside. Because I was undisciplined, that's what I look like on the outside. This had a massive effect on my confidence, and it has a massive effect on every man's confidence who comes into Men of Fire, and you, if you find yourself in this situation and you know it's true. In the boardroom, in your company, whenever you're in the living room with your family, if you know that you are operating at 50% of what you could be, then that affects your confidence, and you know that you're not keeping promises to yourself. It affects you on a soul level, especially as a man. If you know that I promised myself I would wake up this morning and I didn't have the strength to do it. Whenever you're a guy who knows that he doesn't have the strength to do something, immediately you feel weak because you didn't have the strength to do it. And no, I'm not talking about I want to bench 325 and I only got 315. Talking about I promised myself that I wouldn't eat a piece of pizza, and I did. I didn't have the internal strength to tell myself no. That alone makes you feel weak and unconfident, and that infects everything. Whenever you talk to other people, whenever you talk to your wife, when you talk to your boss or your employees, you give a presentation, you're on a sales call, people can feel your weakness whenever you know that you've made a weak decision. This affects your sex life. This affects your marriage, your passion. That's just the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to dance around the subject. That's the truth. You know it. I know it. And then whenever you are lacking confidence in leadership, like not only is it physical attraction that's gone when you let yourself go, it's also the most important attraction, which is the respect that you get from your wife. It's her seeing you as a leader, she sees you as a guy that's dependable and a guy that she can rely on and a guy that she can trust. That is far more attractive than just being able to feel your abs. So yes, physical attraction is part of it, but for women, it is much more than that. It is you being a guy that can take them under their wing and protect them, make them feel safe. And when the pure fact is, if somebody can look at you and sees that you have no self-control, it makes them a little bit scared. Like if I saw a video of myself like at a buffet in my fattest moments, just gorging on food and eating my third plate of dessert or whatever it was, I would not feel very confident with that guy leading me. Like, okay, he probably told himself no, but he can't stop himself. And if a man can't stop himself from doing the thing that he knows he can't, then what else is he going to be tempted to do? What other temptation in his life will he not be able to say no to? Financial temptations, temptations with other women, temptations at work, a lot of different temptations. If he cannot control what he puts in his mouth, what can he control? And that alone makes your wife feel unsafe. And let me tell you guys, they probably are not going to tell this to you. That's why you need other men in your life. Like, there's all the guys in my group and the guys that I talk to. You have a various range of relationships with wives. You've got the roommate style wife who you and her have very little connection and it's dying. Your roommates. You've got a relationship sometimes where you and your wife are actively battling each other and it's a constant tension. Then you've got the happy wife, happy life guy who is changing who he is. He's a yes man and he talks about his wife when she's not in his room, but he avoids confrontation with her at all costs just so he can avoid her emotional outbursts. Then you've got wives who are 100% on board, supportive, and want you to be the best man you can be. You've also got those kind of wives. And there's more shades of gray than that too. But those are many of the archetypes that I've run into. If you've got a wife who's on board and pushing you and wants you to be the best man you can be, thank your lucky stars. The good news is if you've got a wife in those other categories, that can also change if you change. You cannot change them. Once you change yourself, then the relationship changes. You must become a person who attracts her into your world. You can't say, hey, I need you to be different for me. It's like, okay, well, you need to lead yourself first. You can't lead your family until you're leading yourself first. So once you start leading yourself, that's whenever you can start to lead the family. That's when the attraction comes back, and that's when you can start having more sex again, and you can actually feel like a man again. Guess what happens whenever you're having more sex in a week? You feel confident and like a badass, and you feel like a man again. When you're going months or years without doing that, you don't feel very confident in yourself because you're like, what's wrong with me? That also leads you into temptation. Because I've heard this many, many times from guys. It's, well, if my wife's not going to give it to me, then I need to get it somewhere, right? Nod your head if you've ever thought that thought. Yeah. But that is a victim mindset. Cast that out the window. Leave that to the men who are weak. You are going to be strong, and you're going to say, nope, instead of that mindset, I'm going to change myself. I'm going to get my ass to the gym. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to give up alcohol. I'm going to give up weed. I'm going to turn myself into an unbreakable, undeniable leader. I'm going to become so damn attractive, she won't be able to restrain herself. That's the guy I'm going to become. And it's important to note this. You are not doing this for her. You're not doing this to force the relationship to change. I am saying that is a symptom of you becoming the best you. Whenever you become the best you, the relationship with your wife gets better. You make more income. The relationship with your kids get better. The relationship you have with you gets better. Your mindset changes. Everything changes whenever you finally respect that man you see in the mirror again. This also has an effect on your wealth. Dad bod effect has an effect on your wealth. Yes, you can find fat rich guys, obviously. Okay, I'm not saying that's an impossibility. The more disciplined I got, the more money I made. The more disciplined I got and more promises I kept to myself, including waking up early and getting myself to go to the gym. Once I had the self-discipline to get myself up in the morning and go to the gym, I then had the self-discipline to do the necessary business tasks that I was avoiding. And for the now hundreds of men that have been through Men of Fire, exact same pattern happens. As they become more disciplined in what we do and with our habits and routines and self-discipline, simple as waking up on time, you'll see a guy as soon as he gets all in and he's, now he's weeks in and he's posting every day and he's You can see the smile changing on him. You can see his face slimming down, muscles getting bigger. He's like, dude, I've woken up at 5 a.m. every day for 30 days straight. If that guy is in any type of business, it always starts taking off. If that guy's in any type of sales job, he always starts having the best month of his life. It just happens over and over again. It's not a magic pill, but I think it is logical. I think it is logical. And I've seen the memes out there, from guys that are like, oh, well, getting ripped doesn't make you rich. Yeah, obviously, that's not the connection we're making here. Let's just talk about it logically. If you are more confident in yourself, will you make more sales if you're in a sales job? Yes. If you're more confident in yourself, you have more energy. People respect you more by what you look like. Will they trust you more in a leadership position to lead them if they can see you're leading yourself? Will you get promoted more? Will more clients come to you and trust you to manage them if they can tell you're a disciplined person? Yes, it's true for me. It's true for the many people that I've worked with that have said these exact same words. If you right now do not have the discipline to get yourself out of bed, or do not have the discipline to not drink alcohol when you promised yourself you wouldn't, and you also don't have the discipline to cold call people when you have to, or reach out to prospects, or work on the necessary business tasks that aren't motivating and inspiring, but they must be done, once you can finally get yourself to the gym and do things physically that you don't want to do, and once you can finally get yourself to wake up on time and finally get yourself to not drink when you promised yourself you wouldn't, do you think it would be easier for you to complete these business tasks and just work on your business and work on your career? Yes, it is. Discipline is not just a physical thing. It is purely the ability to make yourself do something you don't want to do when you're not inspired to do it. So the more you practice that strength in any area, the more it's going to transfer to everywhere. The more you give in to lack of discipline, it's going to affect everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. The low energy, the brain fog, and I'll do it tomorrow mindset that builds a dad bod is the exact same disease that kills your ambition and keeps you from building your business. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. That's you saying, I'll start that business course tomorrow, or I'll call that guy tomorrow. Brain fog, low energy, can't focus on anything because of your nutrition and lack of working out. That affects you in your business and trying to create wealth. Your lack of discipline in buying things and saving money and investing money. That is the same lack of discipline of you drinking when you shouldn't, eating whenever you shouldn't. It's all connected. Discipline is everything. Lack of discipline is everything. They're all connected. You're also giving your children a model. Like we've been talking about us selfishly. We've been talking the effects on us, our income. We've been talking about how it makes us feel. All us, it makes your children feel a certain way too. You're also responsible as a father for giving your children a blueprint. Your son's first superhero is you. You're your daughter's first standard of what she's going to be looking like. When if she's on the hunt and guys are courting her, her standard of what a husband and father is the husband and father that she's seen for 18 years. Who is that man? It's you. When she thinks about what's a father like, it's going to be you. What are you showing her what a father is like? What are you showing your son? This is what a man's like. When he's at college for the first time by himself, he doesn't have you telling him what to eat or do. He's going to be thinking, okay, it's the weekend. What does a man do on the weekend? He's going to be tempted by everything he sees around him, and then he's going to be guided by the memory of what you did on the weekend. What are you doing? What are his guidelines going to be that you are giving him? If you've got younger kids and you're going to playgrounds and you're playing with them all the time, like my kids are about 12 and 10 right now. Birthdays are coming up. They still want to play with me all the time. Okay, if you've got kids that are 3 and 5, like, oh, in a couple years, I'm not going to go to playgrounds. No, my kids are 12 and 10. I went yesterday with my daughter. As soon as she came home from school, she got home 3:45. She said, Dad, can we go to the workout park? I was like, yep. So she did 15 minutes of homework, and I took her for 50 minutes. We went to a workout park. We did pull-ups. We did an obstacle course. She likes to play I'm a gym teacher. So she pretends she's a gym teacher. And I actually did this on Instagram Live. So you can watch our workout on my Instagram account. But we did pull-ups, we did push-ups, we did sit-ups, and we did this whole obstacle course. And then we went and played on the playground. I was chasing her around, playing tag. That was a 50-minute session with her. Burned tons of calories. Then I came home. Nathan was home waiting for me. As soon as I stepped foot in the door, he said, "Hey, Dad, can we go play basketball?" I was like, okay. This is after me waking up at 4:30 a.m., going to the gym, doing a morning routine, working for 8 hours, doing 50 minutes with my daughter, and then my son wants to play basketball with me in the backyard on our patio. Said yes. So then I played 30 minutes of basketball with him one-on-one, doing jukes and moves the whole time. Lots of energy. And then it was dinner time, and then we watched Harry Potter at the end of the night. But the point being, your kids have no timeline as to when they want you to stop playing with them. The timeline arrives whenever we as parents stop playing with them. It's not up to the kids, it's up to us. And I hear that from a lot of parents is, well, your kids don't want to play with you anymore at blank. Part of that is true. Like when my son gets his girlfriend for the first time and they're driving on dates, yeah, obviously he's going to want to do that. But I hear that from parents that are like of 8 to 10-year-olds. And maybe there's some truth to that, but I think a majority of this is we just got tired of playing with them. We got tired of running around on the playground. We started to say, "Dad's too tired. I don't really feel like doing this anymore." Where you said, "Hey, go play with your sister, or go play with your friends, or go on the iPad, or hey, go on the video game console while I sit here on my phone on the couch." And we just stopped. We lost the enthusiasm that we had whenever they were toddlers and babies, now that they're growing up a little bit. And we set the timeline. They didn't want to stop playing with us. We told them we were going to stop playing with them so many times. Now they just stopped asking. Now they don't even ask to play with us anymore because they know you're just going to tell them to go shoo off. They will want to play with other kids and do all that stuff, and that's good. Encourage that. Absolutely. Your kids should be playing with other kids. Your kids should be going on dates and exploring life without you. But if your kids want to play with you, say yes. Don't be the one to say no. So let's not teach our son that it's okay for men to break promises. And let's not teach our daughter that complacency, dad bod, and laziness is a level of effort she should expect from her future husband. So I promised you a blueprint to get out of this, so let's get out of it. You've heard my story, so you already know how I got out of it. I kind of dropped hints and strategies throughout this, but let's give you kind of like a step-by-step process. So first is belief. You must believe it's possible for you. If you don't believe it's possible for you, you're not even going to try this. You must decide right now that the dad bod, your funny gut that you have that you poke fun of, or maybe you're obese or whatever it is, that guy's dead now. He's no longer you. He's trapping the real you inside. It's like you're a ripped actor who has to wear a 200-pound fat suit, or you're wearing a dad bod fat suit. He's suffocating you. You got to feel suffocated. Like, you need to get out of this now. You got to just, as quick as you can, we got to rip this off of you. No, it's not acceptance. We are not going to accept this. We're not going to accept laziness, complacency, fat. We're not going to accept lack of discipline. We want radical self-transformation, not radical self-acceptance. I believe that every father in the United States can become their best self. I don't believe every father in the United States should accept themselves as they are. I think every father in the United States should want to become the best man they can be, the most self-controlled, self-disciplined, unbelievable leader they can be. The world needs more strong men who aren't afraid, who aren't running. This is that. It starts with your body. It starts with you and your physical self. It's time for you to rise and do this. So decide that your dad bod is dead. He's no longer you. You're stuck inside of him, but we're going to burn him off. Here's how we kill that guy. Here's how we burn that off. Every single morning, you wake up on time. Boom, that's it. That's step one. The decision is the hard part. When you're laying in bed, deciding whether you're going to get out or not, that's the hard part. Working out isn't the hard part. It's laying in bed, deciding. And what are you deciding? You're deciding who you are. You're deciding if you are the guy who gets out of bed or if you're the guy who lays in bed. It's an identity crisis right there at 4:30 a.m. Many times, your visceral physical self takes over and you can't do anything about it. And you can, but you decide not to. You say, I just feel like sleeping more, so you sleep more. That's why you got to make it easy on yourself. So step 2, after you've got up on time, is let's fix your environment. Let's put your gym shoes out right next to your bed. Let's have your protein shake already made. Put your keys and gym clothes out where it's easy for you. James Clear in Atomic Habits says the habits you want to make happen more often, you need to make them easy and convenient, and you need to reward yourself. Great book. Make sure you read it. So let's make this habit easy. Let's implement a system for the habit that we want. The habit that we want is that we work out every morning. So we need to implement systems for that. Systems and habits are 2 of the 3 parts of identity hacking. So the habit is going to the gym. The system is putting our keys out, putting our shoes out, gym clothes out, some guys put their alarm clock or phone on the other side of the hallway, or they wear headphones so they don't wake up their wife. They're all, believe me, all the questions and concerns that you have, I've heard them all. Every guy in my group has had them. So we wake up on time, then we implement a system to make it easy, and then we just show up imperfectly. That is it. Imperfectly. We show up to the gym imperfectly. Well, I don't know what to do. Okay, Google it. Do some push-ups. I don't care. I worked out in a dirty garage for a year. You can do it. Just get up on time. That's the win. Don't be the guy who couldn't even get up on time for 10 years, and then the first day he gets up on time, he's like, oh, well, I'm not ripped yet. Yeah, no, you had a win. The win is you're here. You got to the gym. Great job. Now let's come to the gym tomorrow. Let's start stacking wins. Let's start building back the savage that's inside of you. Then we'll start adding brick by brick by brick. But we must build the foundation first. This perfectionist, result-obsessed mindset that so many of us have is what kills us in the first place. So we're going to ditch that mindset. Then we just woke up on time. Okay, you made yourself a system to go to the gym. We're going to choose protein over sugar. So some real logistical stuff right now. We're not going to eat a cookie. We're not going to just pour a cup of sugar into our coffee. Protein. Have a protein shake ready. Have a 000 yogurt. Something with protein in it right away. Give yourself some complex carbs right off the bat, some slow-acting carbs. So let's get some protein in you. Let's get some carbs in you, healthy carbs, not potato chips. And that's how you're going to start your day, with healthy, whole foods, maybe a little bit of caffeine, and you're going to be on your way to the gym. And you're going to feel so amazing when you do that. So that's step 1. Getting out of bed and getting your butt to the gym is just step 1. Step 2 is, who is this guy I'm going to be? You need to decide that. You need to decide who you are. So let's create 3 to 5 non-negotiable standards for you. This is a journaling thing. This is a keep it in Google Drive in your phone thing. Guys in my group, they've got it on the back of their phones. This is who I am. These are the things I do every single day. So what are your non-negotiables that you are now going to do, even if it's inconvenient, even if it's hard, even if you don't feel like doing it? Are you going to train 4 times a week? Are you going to only eat clean food? Will you be in bed by 10 p.m.? Are you, whatever it is, you need 3 to 5 non-negotiables every single day that you do. So write these down. This is your contract with yourself. This is the guy that I am. So we're waking up on time. We're going to the gym. Now you're starting to make some progress. Now you're creating a blueprint. You're creating a vision of yourself. You're like painting yourself who you're going to be, and you're working towards it. Okay, Chris is the guy who works out 6 days a week. Chris is the guy who does gratitude every single morning. He's the guy who does an active service, and he smiles when he sees his children and his wife. These are my non-negotiables. I will do these every single day. So write them down, bullet by bullet. Just 3 to 5 right now. Don't do 100 things right now. We couldn't even get out of bed yesterday. So just do the morning. Just do step 1 for a couple weeks. Step 2, after a couple weeks of getting out of bed on time, let's start to do these now. Non-negotiables. Give yourself a contract. In step 3, it's going to have 4 little prongs to it, okay? 4-prong attack here. And we're going to, I'm going to give you like a small system for doing this, because I've got courses for this, a whole coaching program for this. I'm not going to spend another 3 hours on this podcast giving all these little things. But these are things you can absolutely do. Like, you could take this, package it up, and sell it. This is how you can get your fire back, and you can destroy that dad bod. So we said, wake up on time. Good. Every single day you do that, you're killing that old version of you. Great. Now we're going to do non-negotiables. That's step 2. You made a contract, 3 to 5 non-negotiables. Step 3 is food. That's the first part of it. Okay. So what are you putting in your body? Stop lying to yourself. Stop giving yourself excuses. What are you putting in your body? So if the majority of your foods come in a plastic wrapper, there's a high likelihood that they're not very good for you. We want as few ingredients as possible. Like a piece of fruit, 1 ingredient. Piece of steak, 1 ingredient. We want whole foods. Make that a majority of your diet. Start meal prepping, meal planning. In my fridge, I've got 3 containers of chopped up chicken thighs. I've got 1 container of steak, because we already went through a whole container yesterday. We've got 000 yogurt. I've got jasmine rice and potatoes, all in these containers. It's just whole foods. That's a majority of what I eat. 80 to 90% of what I eat are just whole foods. Steak, potatoes, chicken, rice. Things that are already made that taste great, that aren't packaged and have 30 weird ingredients and 50 grams of sugar. Stop eating fast food. Stop drinking so much. I am not abstinent from drinking. We went camping last weekend. I had a couple drinks. 2 over the 4 days. But other than that, it's like 1 drink every 2 months, unless it's an occasion like that, like it's our anniversary, I'll have a glass of wine or something. But I've talked to guys who are drinking every single night. That's too much. It's making you have bad sleep. It's killing your diet. It's killing your testosterone. When you kill your sleep, you kill your testosterone. It's having lots of negative effects. It's killing your drive, your passion, your ambition. A guy joined our group who gave up weed. He told me that weed crushed his ambition and passion for 30 years. Another guy joined, gave up weed. He said it's the exact same thing. For the past 10 years, weed has just been killing me. And I don't know, I never had a weed problem. I smoked weed once or twice in my life. It did nothing for me. Everyone's like, it's the best thing on earth. It did nothing for me. So I was like, why would I do this? So I just never did it again. So I never had a weed problem. But I've now worked with many guys who have, and for them, it turned them into from a motivated savage into just a complacent slob. And now their businesses are taking off. They're completely different. And since they quit it and started all these other habits, everything in their life is changing. So anecdotally, okay, I think it's doing some negative damage to some people. So let's stop consuming things that are destroying us and start consuming good foods. So do not say, I don't know what to do. That's why I can't eat healthy. You do know. You just like it too much. So start eating healthier. Get into the gym and start lifting heavy weight. If you're in my age group and you're this, late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s guy, this middle area of our life, you need muscle mass. You need it to protect your joints and your tendons and your ligaments. There's nothing wrong with cardio. I do cardio. But I also know guys who say they ride 10 miles of a bike a day and have got a giant gut. They look like, in that Trolls movie, the Bergens or whatever. They've got these skinny little arms, skinny little legs, and a giant gut, and they say they're doing 2 hours of cardio a day. Something's off here. Either we're lying about that or doing that, plus we're just eating tons of food. If all you do is cardio and you don't do any resistance workouts, you're building part of your body, right? Your heart strength, your cardiovascular strength, yes, but you're not building any muscle mass. You need some muscle mass as you get older to protect yourself from injury. And it's nice to be strong. It is also nice to be able to lift things and to protect your family. Your majority of what you do should be weightlifting, and it should be resistance training, especially in the age of life that you probably are. Sleep. Go to sleep earlier. I'm asleep 9:15, 9:30 at the latest. I'm up at 4:30. So I'm getting 7.5 hours of sleep, which is plenty for me. More than, if I get 6.5, I feel great. If I get 7, I'm on fire, on top of the world. Do what you have to do to set up systems and communicate correctly within your family so you can get to sleep and the entire family can get to sleep at the right time so you can get up at the right time. If you're going to sleep at 11, 11:30, you're not going to be able to get up at 4 or 4:30 a.m. and get your workout done before everyone else. So then the last part of this is accountability. You must get into a situation, an environment where people can hold you accountable. That could be a group like Men of Fire. That could be your own buddies. Like I just grabbed my buddy. He's going to the gym now. Now in our group chat, we're holding each other accountable. But there's a lot of guys who don't have that. I realize that. There's a lot of guys who have allowed their friends to leave them over the years. And maybe they used to have a bunch of buddies in high school and college, and now they're alone. But I do recognize that many guys have that issue. So that's when you would seek to join a program, join a group, join a brotherhood of guys where people are actually holding you accountable. Join a jiu-jitsu gym, go to the gym and make friends, because it immediately becomes twice as easy whenever your environment is guys who are holding you accountable doing the same thing. Just immediately. Like we've talked for an hour now on what you can do to get out of this, but as soon as you've got other guys doing it with you, it's twice as easy. Like if I popped open to my Men of Fire group right now, I've just got picture after picture of guys working out at 4 a.m. with their kids by themselves. Guys' wake up times, 4 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m., guys posting about their marriage, guys posting about the things they're eating, recipes. Like if you're in that environment, all of a sudden that's the normal thing to do. Like what's your normal? Is your normal that? Or is your normal sleeping in, being buzzed, talking about the weekend, drinking, that? Like you need to make your normal, okay, my normal is guys getting up and attacking life and wanting to become their best. If that's not your normal, you will always sink or rise to whatever your normal is right now. Your environment, who you surround yourself with, is your normal. So find people to hold you accountable to a high standard of normal. Whenever you join a community of guys who have high standards, all the excuses that you've been giving yourself, I'll start tomorrow, I don't have the finances to do this, life's too chaotic, blah, 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 they just die. Because every single guy in there is in the exact same situation as you, and they've overcame it. So the excuses and limiting beliefs that are holding you stuck in a miserable, mediocre life all of a sudden mean nothing. So because we are destroying your excuses, we are freeing you. If I were to encourage your excuses, I would be enslaving you and you'd be adding bars to your own cage. But every single time me or another man says, no, your excuse is invalid, it's not true. You might be offended by that, but what I'm really doing is pulling a cage off of your prison cell that you've implemented yourself. Getting in shape, taking care of yourself physically, and being disciplined is not about the six-pack or what you look like in the mirror. That's a bonus. It's about legacy. Your children will remember the man that you were, not the man that you planned to be. Your family needs a lighthouse, not a sinking ship. Your foundation for giving energy and providing warmth and guidance to your family is your physical body. If you're not leading yourself and you let that go, you're letting them go. So stop negotiating with the man in the mirror. Stop giving in to his excuses, his limiting beliefs. That is only killing you in building this dad bod that we are here to destroy. So today, the war on your dad bod begins. We have destroyed it. I've given you everything you need to destroy him on this 1 hour now podcast. You absolutely can do it. Here's what you got to do now, though. You must take action. Don't listen to this. Get inspired, feel good, and let those good feelings be enough. That's a trap. You listen to this, you feel on fire, and because you feel good, you feel like you've taken action. No, you still haven't taken action. You only take action once you dip your toes in the fire and you change something. You take a bet on yourself. You invest in yourself. You actually join the gym. You stop thinking about joining the gym. You actually join the gym and show up. You set your alarm clock and you get up. You write down the plan and then you execute the plan. So stop thinking, stop aspirating, and actually take some action so you can be the man that you were meant to be and the man that your family deserves.